Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome for the first time if it's your first time here. My name is Morgan Lopez, and you're watching the college life. How's your day today? I hope it's going good. If not, I hope it gets better. In this video, I will be sharing some of the craziest, saddest, or best college stories. That is a question I put out on a forum for people to answer and share their stories. So I'm going to be reading those to you guys today. So I'm just going to jump right into it and go into story number 1. They are a second year at RIT. So the way I made friends was actually quite interesting when it came to RIT. My first day of orientation, I took a pair of old Vans slip-on sneakers and painted them white. Once they dried later at night, my roommate and I walked around all the dorm buildings with a handful of pens and asked people to sign my shoes. I actually still have them to this day. This is how I made some of my best friends who I am still great friends with now. It's also just a fun way to socialize and get your name out there. Very true. People still remember me as the shoe signing girl, haha. Always a great story to tell. It was so fun though because people would start latching onto our group and coming with us. At one point, we were strolling through tunnels with 15 people. It's crazy. So that sounds really freaking fun and awesome. One time on Instagram, I actually saw this where there was a girl who I think went to a college party actually, and she wore these white pants and walked around having people sign it with a black marker and everything. So I definitely think that leaves an impression, and a pretty good one at that. That's a great way to socialize. I'm glad that you had that little experience and you made a lot of friends that way. That's really good. Story number 2. They are from RIT, College of Science, and a second year. It was Friday, the first week of class of freshman year, and I was walking back to my dorm late afternoon. I almost made it back when I saw a guy wearing a tuxedo standing on a rock with people surrounding him. Interesting. People were passing by. The guy motioned them to join on a funeral he was holding for his hot chocolate. This man was holding a full-on funeral for his hot chocolate, well-prepared speeches and everything. Then someone in the crowd accused Tuxedo Man for killing his own hot chocolate, which spurred an outburst of screaming and yelling between everyone in the crowd. It was just so intense, man. There was also an ambulance testing their sirens in the background, which really added to the aesthetic. LOL. So that is amazing. But for those of you who don't go to RIT, and even those who do go to RIT, that is such an RIT thing. I'm surprised and not surprised at all. Yeah, that just feels like a normal thing around here at this point. There's people who do all sorts of things. You see people going around in little baby motorcycles, little toy cars like the ones you have from kids, but actually riding them around campus. I've seen a banana guy, which I wonder where did he go? I wish I was there seeing that because that sounds hilarious. I wonder what kind of hot chocolate it was though. Story number 3 is this person's a sophomore. They didn't say what college they went to. So this was actually during the summer, but I went to Lake George over by Albany with a couple of my friends, and on the day that we went into the forest to go see the falls, I got lost in the woods. Before that, my phone fell in the water, so I could not even call them or anything, so it was pretty much me finding my way in the woods, and this was also my first time camping. we need a sip for this one. You are crazy, my guy. I don't know why you would go into the woods again alone without your phone and on your first time camping, unless you have a good sense of direction and wilderness skills. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry you lost your phone. That is horrible, but I am extremely glad that you made it out, and hopefully you had a good and fun time doing that, the whole camping experience. But that's crazy. But that's insane. I am too scared to do that, just go walk in the woods. I have too many movies I've watched, and so all that paranoia gets in my head, and I'm looking back every 5 seconds, so I could not do that whatsoever. Blah blah. You Wow. I don't know if y'all can hear that, if the mic picked that up. Some people be gassing it over here, but I love it. Oh my god. Oh, it's the motorcycle. I think it's the motorcycle dude. There's this one guy that rides one, and he absolutely gasses it every time he passes by here. It's insane. But anyways, next story. Story number 5. They are RIT 2026, so I assume they graduate 2026. So they'd be a first year. Yeah, they're first year. Oh my god. Sorry, that took me math to do. So they have a couple stories. Number 1 is, it was kind of crazy last year. when me and 3 other friends decided to make a YouTube channel and a podcast together just for shits and giggles, and we had decided we wanted to film a very specific video about something. We decided to invade one of the academic buildings, of course, because dorms were minuscule, obviously, and we decided to use the Xerox auditorium. Keep in mind this was at around 7 p.m. We all got a ton of stuff and walked on campus to start filming this stupid video. Once we get there, we get set up and I stole one of the tables from outside the auditorium to act as a podium. About 10 minutes in, a guy from campus police walks in and asks us in the most mundane way possible, "What are you guys doing here?" We were silent, no words were spoken. "Is this for a school project?" One of my friends replied, no. "Then I'm gonna have to ask you all to leave right now." He proceeded to stare us down and not move while we all packed our stuff. I don't think he blinked and he proceeded to follow us out of the building. He felt like the kind of cop to pull you over if you were going 32 on a 30. Damn, you guys didn't even get to start the video. That's crazy. So you gotta watch out for Campo. Like, they're always around at certain hours, but wait a second. This was around 7 p.m. Oh, that is crazy, y'all. That's kind of whack. 7 p.m.? That's like people are still around and there's club stuff going. Y'all couldn't record? That's crazy. The last time I was involved with Campo where they kind of like scolded me and my friend was when we were outside of dorms and we were throwing like rocks and pine cones at the wall or whatever, but there was nobody around because this was like nighttime, like deep into the night. And at one point, I think I threw a rock and it landed in a puddle like 10 or 15 feet away from a Campo officer that was walking towards our direction. And then he came up to us and like kind of like, "What are you guys doing? You could hurt someone." I think he said something like that or whatever, but it was actually kind of scary. And me being like really sensitive to those situations, I was like low-key scared and just like really nervous, but he just gave us a warning. And to this day I remember him. I think it was I'm not gonna say his name, never mind. But anyways, I'm pretty sure he just let us off with a warning, but I just remember like the mood was off for that night because I was just so like nerve-wracked by that. But he was pretty intimidating too. Thankfully, he only let us off with a warning, so no red ups or whatever. But it's not like we were gonna hurt anyone. Nobody was around. We were just like tossing pebbles up, not even at the window, like a legit brick wall. But if I hadn't thrown that last pebble, he probably wouldn't have come over. So it's whatever. Their second story is, I have a group of friends that are really into football, guys, football, soccer. And one of my friends organized a trip to go watch a game in the MLS, Toronto FC versus LA Galaxy, for 4 of us who wanted to go. There were 2 problems, however. It was in Canada, it was on a Wednesday. We were a little bit screwed. We found out it was on a Wednesday, but that's besides the point. At around 4 p.m., my friend picks me up from class and we all started a long journey to Toronto. We got past the border maybe a little under an hour and we were in Canada. The border patrol lady was super nice and we were all having fun in the car. Then we start to get close to Toronto, and this is when things go south. After stopping somewhere for all of us to use the bathroom and stretch our legs, we get back on the road and we are met with huge traffic. We start to realize we're gonna miss most of the game, so we're trying to get there by the second half. We made it to just outside the stadium right as the ball was kicked off, but there was a huge traffic jam outside the stadium. After the initial 45 minutes were passed, we finally managed to cut someone into the line of the parking, and we were now waiting in a huge line for parking. It was around 70 minutes when we finally made it into the parking spaces, and the police around the stadium cut off access after us, meaning we had gotten exactly the last spot. That is insanely lucky. Like, wow. I feel bad for the guy behind you. He must have been frustrated. So what had gone wrong was why there so much traffic outside the stadium? Well, just outside the stadium, there just so happened to have been a fair with a bunch of random stalls. What the F? So whoever was in charge of the fair decided to open a fair on Wednesday at the same time as an MLS football game. Why on earth would that ever be a good idea? I have never seen poorer planning than that. Either way, me and my friends got to see around 30 minutes and got to see 2 goals, 1 from each team. We managed to get home around 3 a.m. and I managed to skip my morning class at the following day. At least you got to see part of the game, you know? You got to see a couple goals, so that's pretty good. That sucks, you know, that you miss like pretty much the entire game because there's so much more that goes on. And y'all put the efforts in to go all the way to Canada. Canada's pretty nice, y'all. I hope y'all still at least had a little fun, in the car ride, and y'all still got an experience out of it. So I guess that's the silver lining. So that's the story so far of 5 different people and their crazy, stupidest college experiences slash stories so far. Comment down below if you want to see a part 2. These were really fun to make, especially because I could relate to a few of these. So I know what it feels like. I hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Morgan out.